Hello everyone, I have come up with another presentation. Today we will discuss about electroless plating process. Electroless plating process. It is a process of depositing a metal on the surface of the substrate by using a suitable reducing agent without the use of electric current. Unlike electroplating process, in electroless plating, electric current is not used and one suitable reducing agent is used. The role of reducing agent here is it reduces the metal ions into metal which gets deposited on the surface of the substrate. In electroless plating process, the substrate may be metal and alloy, or it can also be an insulators like plastic, glass or ceramic. Whereas in the case of electroplating process, we can only deposit on conductors like metal or an alloy. Whereas in the electroless plating process, the substrate may be conductors like metal or an alloy or insulators like plastic, glass or ceramic. So how this electroless plating process is carried out? Unlike electroplating process, electroless plating process has one more step here. The first step in the case of electroless plating process is pre-treatment and activation of the substrate. Pre-treatment is carried out by treating the surface of the substrate with organic solvents followed by treating with an acid. After the pre-treatment is over, then the surface needs to be activated. And the activation of the surface of the substrate is required only if the substrate is an insulator. If the substrate is metal or an alloy, then the activation is not needed. If the substrate is an insulator like plastic or glass, then the surface needs to be activated. And how this activation is carried out? Activation is done by dipping the substrate in stannous chloride solution followed by dipping it in a palladium chloride solution. Stannous chloride reduces palladium ions to palladium and palladium gets deposited on the surface of the substrate and it acts as a catalyst for the further deposition reaction. Now we will see electroless plating of nickel, that is how nickel is deposited on the surface of the substrate. The pre-treated and activated substrate is dipped in the following bath composition. This is a plating tank. In this plating tank, this is the different reagents that are being used. We call it as plating bath composition. The bath composition consists of nickel chloride or nickel sulfate solution as plating bath solution, that is nickel chloride or nickel sulfate supplies Ni2 plus ions for the deposition. Sodium hypophosphite is used as reducing agent. Sodium succinate is used as complexing agent to maintain constant metal ion concentration throughout the plating process. To maintain pH of 4.5, sodium acetate is used as a buffer solution. And the entire plating process is carried out at 93 degrees centigrade. And you can see here, this is the substrate made up of steel. Sodium hypophosphite, which acts as a reducing agent here, it undergoes itself oxidation, gets converted into hypophosphate. Along with that, electrons will be liberated. These liberated electrons will be taken up by Ni2 plus ions and get reduced to nickel metal. And this nickel metal, it gets deposited on the surface of the substrate. After obtaining a desired thickness, the plating process is stopped, and then this deposited nickel substrate can be used for various applications. You can see different applications of electroless plated nickel I have mentioned here. So the examples I have mentioned both on the surface of a metal as well as on the surface of the plastic base. So on the surface of metal, on the steel, a nickel layer has been deposited or coated by electroless plating process. Similarly, on a plastic base, nickel plating will be done. Like this, various applications of electroless nickel plating can be used in the market. So usually where maximum wear and abrasion will be there, and where corrosion resistance is required, and if any hardness is required for the surface of the substrate, then nickel plating will be carried out. Now we will see how electroless plating of copper is done. Again, it involves same method. First, the pre-treated and activated substrate, it has to be dipped in the bath composition. So in the case of nickel, I have chosen the substrate as a metal. Here I have chosen the substrate as a plastic base. Plastic substrate is immersed in the bath composition. The bath composition consists of copper sulfate as a plating bath solution. Copper sulfate supplies Cu2 plus ions for the deposition. Formaldehyde is used as a reducing agent. Disodium salt of PDTA is used as complexing agent to maintain constant alkaline concentration. Sodium hydroxide plus Rockel salt is used as buffer solution to maintain 11.5 to 12 pH. Rockel salt is nothing but sodium potassium tartarate. And this entire plating process is carried out at room temperature of about 25 degrees centigrade. So what happens here is formaldehyde, which is a reducing agent here, it gives out electrons. The electrons are taken up by Cu2 plus ions present in the copper sulfate solution, and these Cu2 plus ions, they undergo reduction on the surface of the substrate as copper metal. And after obtaining a desired thickness, we need to stop the plating process and use it for various applications. Here we can see different applications of copper plated materials or substrate. So one example I have shown on the surface of steel substrate, copper plating is done. And this is the interesting application of electroless copper plating. On the surface of the plastic base, you can see the green color plastic base. On that, by electroless plating process, a copper layer will be deposited. So this plastic base with a layer of copper on its surface, it will be used in the manufacture of PCBs, that is printed circuit boards. Based on the circuit design, unwanted copper will be etched away, that is unwanted copper will be removed, and after that, based on the circuit requirement, the entire circuit will be made, and the resulting circuit board, we call it as printed circuit board. You can see here on the surface of plastic, first copper layer will be deposited, then unwanted copper layer will be etched away, and then circuit will be designed. So like this, electroless plating of nickel and electroless plating of copper finds a lot of applications in the market. Thank you so much.